For more than 100 years, citrus has been exported from South Africa to all over the world. The industry has a long and successful history of growth, innovation and forward thinking. Since 2006, South Africa has been the second largest exporter of fresh citrus in the world, although we're only the 12th largest producer. We export oranges, grapefruit, lemons and soft citrus to more than 60 foreign countries. Of the about 2 million tons of citrus produced in southern Africa every year, around 69% is exported, 7% is processed, and the remaining 24% is sold on the local market. There are 18 citrus growing regions in South Africa, allowing us to produce a wide variety of export citrus for a large portion of the year.
About 2/3 of our citrus is orange production. Of the 60,000 hectares under citrus, around 24,000 is under Valencia oranges and about 14,000 is under Navel oranges. Most of our Valencias are produced up north in the Limpopo and Mpumalanga provinces, whereas Navels prefer the colder areas in the Western Cape and Eastern Cape, with some areas in Marble Hall and Groblersdal area. We do process oranges mostly into orange juices, about 300,000 tons per annum. We also obviously sell on the local market about 120,000 tons, with annually about 750,000 tons exported. In terms of our major markets, continental Europe takes 42% and the United Kingdom 8%. About 18% of our production go into the Middle East. Northern America takes about 6%. And then the Far East takes 9% of our orange exports. In total, orange industry earns about 3 billion rand in foreign exchange. The second sector we'll look at is the soft citrus sector. This is vastly grown in the Western Cape area, with 58% of soft citrus coming out of that area. In total, 5,000 hectares of soft citrus are grown in South Africa. The second biggest area is the Eastern Cape with 25%, and then there are small pockets of soft citrus up in Limpopo and in Mpumalanga provinces. In terms of how the soft citrus is utilized, 20,000 tons are processed annually, about 25,000 tons are sold on the local market, and the balance of about 100,000 tons is exported every year. The United Kingdom is by far our biggest market for soft citrus. They absorb in excess of 50% of soft citrus exported annually. And then continental Europe takes 20%, and then we just about distribute to most other markets around the world. In terms of gross earnings, soft citrus earns about 500 million rand per annum. Soft citrus is the biggest or the most competitive product in all our citrus ranges in the southern hemisphere, with large quantities also coming out of Peru, Argentina, Uruguay and Chile. In terms of the global soft citrus market, Spain is by far the largest soft citrus exporter, with second being China, third being Morocco, and South Africa being the 5th largest exporter in the world. The next sector that we'll look at is the grapefruit sector. This is largely grown up in the Limpopo province, with about 32 or 34% from there, and then in the Mpumalanga province in the Low Veld, where we also have just over 30% being grown. And in KwaZulu-Natal, there's about 20% of our grapefruit being grown. In terms of the usage of grapefruit, approximately 175,000 tons are processed annually. There's a very small local market, just over 3,000 tons annually, and the vast bulk of the fruit is exported, about 200,000 tons. Japan is a very important market for us, absorbing about 40% of our exports every year, and then the balance going into Europe, with about 43% going into continental Europe. The United Kingdom takes about 8%, and then Eastern Europe, which is an increasing market in all types of citrus, takes about 6%. In terms of global exports, South Africa is the second biggest exporter of grapefruit in the world, behind the USA. And in total, grapefruit earns about 600 million rand in foreign exchange every year. The final sector we look at is the lemon sector, grown on about 4,500 hectares. The vast majority of lemons are grown in the Eastern Cape, particularly in the Sundays River area, where 45% of lemon production is. And then we have in the Western Cape about 21%. So lemons prefer the area down in the cooler areas of South Africa. In terms of processing, about 70,000 tons are processed every year. That goes into both lemon juices and lemon oils. About 10,000 tons is marketed on the local market, and then the balance of about 110,000 tons is exported every year. The lemon crop in the southern hemisphere is dominated by Argentina. They export about 360,000 tons a year, and they juice about 1 million tons a year. So one can see that in terms of the southern hemisphere lemon industry, Argentina dwarfs the South African industry. The other big players are Spain, Mexico, and Turkey. In terms of our lemon exports, 45% of our lemon exports go into the Middle East, and about 16% into continental Europe, 12% into the UK, and about 15% into Southeast Asia. In total, the lemon industry earns about 400 million rand in foreign exchange. Until 1997, the industry was regulated. In other words, everything was done through the Citrus Board. Since deregulation, the industry has broken up into a number of different bodies. The growers have formed the Citrus Growers Association, largely responsible for research in the industry, but also playing a role in transformation, information, and market access. The export agents have formed the Fresh Produce Exporters Forum, and in particular in terms of citrus, the Citrus Exporters Forum, and they look at the export side and what's going on in the markets. Citrus Growers Association has also formed the Citrus Academy, which looks after training and skills development in the citrus sector. And then they also have the Citrus Research International, which does all the research work and technical side of market access. Over the past couple of years, the industry has also looked at more research and more innovation in the packaging and the cold chain arena. The citrus industry has formed the Citrus Cold Chain Forum, with players from all different aspects of the citrus industry looking at these issues and trying to ensure that South Africa stays ahead in terms of technology and requirements in packaging and in the cold chain. In terms of the Post-Harvest Innovation Fund, this is a fund that is funded by the Department of Science and Technology and has been put together by the Fresh Produce Exporters Forum. The Post-Harvest Innovation Fund funds various projects in the cold chain area and specifically looking at packaging and cold chain infrastructure. In terms of the pack houses in the industry, in the past most pack houses were cooperative type pack houses, but since deregulation many farmers have their own pack houses. So we have pack houses packing 50,000 or less cartons, right up to huge big communal type pack houses or company owned pack houses that pack up to 3, 4, 5 million cartons. In terms of packing material, most citrus is exported in cardboard cartons. There hasn't been a lot of development in terms of changing the technology of these cartons over time, but there are now supervent cartons which allow for more cooling that are being developed. There's also work being done on containers in terms of the airflow in containers, so that the air comes into the container and is distributed evenly throughout the container. This is particularly important in our cold sterilization markets, where the fruit has to be at a certain core temperature in order for the pests that are of issue to be destroyed. In terms of pallets, obviously they're a vital part of the whole transport infrastructure. It's a requirement that all pallets are treated, either hot water treated or chemically treated, to ensure that there are no borers in the pallets. It's also important that pallets are constructed correctly, and the industry has over the years developed protocols and standards for proper packaging and pallet manufacturing. In terms of the challenges and opportunities that face our industry, because most of our fruit goes into continental Europe and the United Kingdom, we have consumers there that are very concerned about issues such as food safety, issues around the environment, and issues around ethical trading. In terms of the food safety aspects, what they're most concerned about is residues, chemical residues, and also bacterial contamination. In terms of ethical trading, we are engaged with the UK retailers to make sure that our working conditions are acceptable to them. And in terms of the environment, we've got work that is underway in terms of the carbon emissions and carbon calculators, so that growers can actually determine their own carbon footprint. Transformation of the citrus sector and land reform in general in South Africa is obviously a very important issue. Within the citrus industry, we have a number of black growers that are now involved in the industry. The Citrus Growers Association has a mentorship program which is funded by the Department of Agriculture, where successful commercial farmers are put in touch with these new growers in order to help transfer skills and transfer abilities across to these new growers. We also have joint operations with the Department of Agriculture in terms of extension. We have our own extension offices in the north and in the south. And we engage with the extension officers of the Department of Agriculture in order to get certain of their personnel becoming citrus experts and able to transfer skills, transfer technology across to the new black growers in the industry. Labour utilisation in the sector, there's roughly 60,000 labourers that are employed in the growing part of the industry, and then probably another 40,000 employed in the pack houses and downstream activities. This labour is employed in some of the poorest rural areas of South Africa, such as the Eastern Cape and the Limpopo regions. The other challenges obviously revolve around the costs of production with escalating prices of fertiliser and fuel prices. Obviously we're down here in the bottom end of Africa and we have to transport our fruit a long way to the markets, and any increase in oil prices has an adverse effect on transport costs.